the invitation. And just to touch on or use an example to start the conversation, I was sitting with Prof. Yaro. We're talking about how the weather is changing, and he said in Tamale right now, the the temperatures are actually dropping in the evenings, and it's going to become more over the period. And we jokingly laughed about the fact that when we talk about climate change, it's climate swap, because it seems that it's getting much hotter. Yes, whilst we are experiencing much cooler temperatures. So the question is, how are we prepared for this? What are we doing in terms of our agriculture, in terms of our energy, in terms of health? Because some people may be more resilient than others. And as Prof has said, it's the young people that are coming up. It's the young people who have ideas. Right now, technology is at their fingertips. There's a lot that's going on in terms of AI. How do we harness all these different technologies and ideas within the various sectors? How do we even work across sectors? Because you can look at health, you can look at technology, you can look at nutrition. All these things can actually operate in the same space. So on that basis, the Africa Climate Collaborative is actually a consortium. So there are 4 universities that have come together to work as faculty, as students, to do research, not only research, but also to train the youth. So Mr. Ajay, I think you fall in the category since you said you're Gen Z. So we're providing training in capacity building, but not only, but all those researchers that are involved in that collaboration. So it's the University of Ghana together with the University of Cambridge in the UK, Makerere University in Uganda, and University of Cape Town. Some of us researchers have already been working on prior research areas within the climate space, but we're now expanding because the focus is on empowering youth within Africa. So we are starting from within our local communities and then expanding regionally, which allows for the networking. I don't know how much time I have to do this because there's a lot that we can.
Yeah, I know there's a lot, but
yeah, but basically this is the collaborative. We're providing scholarships and trainings. The innovation is an aspect of it. We are doing networking. We're actually even setting up what we call local observatories within communities so that it's not only like formalized academic capacity building, but the communities we work in, we engage with them and they're participating in the processes as well.
And the focus is on the rural youth as well. You have an aspect of it
we
focused on rural youth.
And we are trying to even represent the different ecological zones within Africa. So the observatories are in the coastal area, the mid-belt, and in the northern belts. So we're working with local communities, rural communities.
So that's where I come to you on RISA, exactly what you're doing in this respect of rural innovation, technology transfer, in this entire ecosystem of innovation, please.
Yeah, so the RISA Fund itself, it stands for Research and Innovation Systems for Africa. It's a partnership between the United Kingdom and various African countries, of which Ghana is part. And our main objectives are geared towards strengthening the landscape for research, because we believe that research can be impactful and transformative. We are also interested in supporting the emergence of African innovation. So there's particular interest in scaling of innovations. And in doing that, you realize that there are a number of challenges or bottlenecks in the ecosystem. When you ask most innovators the challenges that they are facing, the number one they talk about is access to finance. But you realize that in Ghana, for example, coordination of the ecosystem itself is a more fundamental challenge. There are others, like lack of inclusion in the ecosystem. There's also the need for technical capacity. So we take a whole ecosystem point of view. And also, there's strong interest in bridging the gap between research, innovation, and industry, because we want to see research and innovation work in a way that it delivers for more people and it delivers at scale and becomes a tool for socioeconomic transformation in Africa. So that's our focus. And in doing this, naturally, rural becomes an important point of operation. And so our partnership with the University of Ghana Business School is specifically focused on how to transfer research output into rural communities in a way that supports their enterprises around food. And at the same time, build the capacity of those local SMEs to deliver for their people in their communities. And I think that is a very important challenge. It aligns with some of the things that the other speakers have spoken about, similar challenges to solve for. And I think this platform creates the opportunity for more collaboration to create even more impact.
Wonderful, and more money too, which is important. But Prof, there's a point you made earlier which ties into something Professor Yaro referenced, that what has been missing is not brilliance but synergy. Professor Champong also talked about our impact collaboratively being much more if we connect the dots. That example that you gave of malnutrition actually increasing, even though we have excess food production in some parts of the country. Recently, there was rice glut in some parts of the northern Ghana, and farmers were crying. Meanwhile, other places, people are not getting food to eat. So how do we connect the dots to ensure that as we're having a challenge of food glut, that would also be leveraged to solve the problem of malnutrition?
Thank you very much. Hello. Okay. So, I mean, let me use an illustration at the University of Ghana to explain this. If you come to University of Ghana, we have training in agriculture that addresses primary production. We also have training in food science that deals with processing, value addition. We have fisheries that does training on production. There is also value addition part of it. We have public health that deals with the health aspect. We have a nutrition, but all of these are in different departments. They have been set up to specialize in particular areas. We also have an engineering department that has a food engineering and technology. The idea is that we haven't done well in linking all of these together so that we can deploy them together. As I sat down, I was looking at the theme, the idea of stars aligning, you know, it's sort of interesting to us because we know that it bodes something that would work well. We have not been able to do that. How do we get all of these different but relevant units to work together? And we are thinking of this intentionally by recognizing what are the areas that we have been focusing on and which parts are weak that we can bring them up. For example, people think about when you
Still high, even with the glut.
But that's also the thing.
Yeah.
You cannot ensure that food systems are doing what it's doing without thinking about the business side of it. And the business side of it has to make sense for you to be able to break even and make profit. And right now I'm just sitting and thinking, how do we raise young people who have limited capital to be successful in the space where at the same time they're also big business working in that? But that's the business and the financial engineering aspect of it. We need to train not just the producers.
True.
We also need to train the people who know how to link the markets to where there is need so that they are not only successful today, they can also be successful beyond that. And someone is from export promotion, that we can not only think about the local market, we can also begin to think about the market out there.
So the entire value chain.
So we need to
has
look at
be-
the entire value chain. And for me, I mean, the most part of my life, I've been working in nutrition. If we produce all that and it doesn't yield benefits for nutrition, in local parlance, did we go or did we come? You understand? So we need to see how all these different levels are working together. And for us, one of the things we are trying to do to address that is to train a new caliber of professionals, those with food systems training, not just production or one aspect of it, but food systems, sustainable food systems that brings in the climate aspects of it. So this is a new program that has just been approved at the University of Ghana level. It's going to accreditation. But our idea is that we can't keep doing it the way we have always done it. We have to look at it from the top and see where are the gaps and how do we bring capacity to be able to address that. But at the same time, we have to also realize that we can't train people and expect that somebody somewhere would employ them. That one has not been working. So we can find new ways to address that. And I know, let me talk to the young people here now. I know, and I have met just this year, a lot of young people with brilliant ideas that they want to put out there. They face limitations with funding.
True.
I think the biggest limitation they face is how to. And I'm looking at my boss here. How
Mr. J,
to.
yeah?
Somebody has to show them how to, because as for the energy, the young people like that word, energy.
Yes.
They have energy and, the vim to get it done. Somebody needs to hold their hand and show them, how do you become like the Toyotas and all these big businesses that we all buy from, the Samsungs, etc. How do we make agri-food systems sexy to them so that they are not just looking for a bank job or trying to find visa out of the country?
Perfect. Dr. Mensah, I'll come to you with a bit more on this. So it's not so much about, yes, part of it is funding. A lot more of it is information, knowledge, to know how to leverage the existing systems and structures, because you talk about the ideas already existing, and I know this for sure because there's been some entrepreneurial programs that have been piloted across universities in this country, and some of the ideas that you see young people put up, I ask myself, what are the frameworks and infrastructure in place to help them scale up and expand so as to solve the national problems we're talking about? Just a bit on this particular point that Prof just made as well.
Okay, so to build on what Prof just talked about, I actually want to highlight the concept of inclusion. So with our project, the target is on women, people from displaced backgrounds or refugees, and people with disabilities, because that's a whole group of marginalized youth that we don't even understand the structural barriers that they have to face in order to even access some of this education, to be able to come up with their innovative ideas, and even to be able to promote their own ideas, because they are coming at it from a different perspective. A few months ago, we had a meeting with the various members from the association, the Disability Association. Forgive me if I've mentioned it wrongly. And people were expressing their sentiments about some of the barriers that they face. So we're not only looking at the youth, current crop of youth that we are sitting here, but we're looking at a whole host of other youth who have been sidelined because they don't have access to the same sort of structures. So the question on synergy, so what we are doing is we're trying to provide, there's a mentoring and coaching program. Through the research that we're doing, we should be able to identify specific areas that need more knowledge on, because we may be working in areas that are generic. I mean, nutrition is something that we've heard about a lot, but then if you dig deep, you might find out that certain social groups have completely different challenges from other social groups. So we are boring down. We are actually trying to find out who are all, the whole concept of leave no one behind. We are making sure that everybody is brought on board. diversity is included. All the inclusive issues have to be addressed in the research that we're doing, in the networking that we're doing, in the capacity building that we're doing, in the innovation and entrepreneurial programs that we're carrying out within the program.
And that stays on the climate resilient driven programs. What are some of the interventions that you have in that area?
It depends. Where do we start from? I mean, if we start from agriculture, what should we be looking at? What types of crops are there? He's talking about the food chain. What kind of preservations are going on? We are even looking at indigenous knowledge. How do we even bring in how communities have traditionally done things that worked for them? Traditional crops. I don't know if that's something that we're looking into. Very recently, I heard about fonio. I'd never heard about it because I was looking for an alternative to quinoa. When you go to the supermarkets, it's 100 and something cedis, but we have our own version of it grown right within the country, but we don't know much about it. So, and we find out that some of these crops, I'm just using crops as an example, some of these crops they're probably more drought tolerance, the nutrition that it provides is different. I'm not in his field, but even shifting away or beginning to integrate some of our local food that we moved away to what is being provided in terms of seeds. But moving back to what we originally grew is an intervention. It can't be considered an intervention. If you take the area of health, there are different things that we need to be looking at because things will change. I'm currently on a project that is looking at how diarrhea moves from the environment to young children. There are different pathways. So if we're able to come in with interventions which are linked to wash systems, for example, and do things a bit differently, we are solving the problem. So it doesn't have to be a whole new invention. It could be a different way of doing things, even using the local knowledge.
The local knowledge, and I come to you on this as well. The rural innovations and interventions. How is RISA also considering that in your funding, considerations?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, one of the key focus areas for RISA, it's also to do with inclusion, as Prof was mentioning. And so apart from all the categories, the various areas or aspects in which people are not integrated into various systems is the rural-urban divide. And so oftentimes things like research and innovation are seen to be preserves of people in the universities, sitting in the ivory tower at Legon. By the way, I'm an alumnus as well. And also the highly educated who are close to the university, right? And so by the time the osmosis happens, the people in the rural community have nothing going on for them. And so I think that our collaboration with UG, but with other institutions also in Ethiopia, there's the University of Gondar, Nigeria, there's Adam Smith, challenges this narrative. It shows you that actually you can apply innovation in a rural context. What you need to do is to understand the context in which you are operating and then try to address any of the challenges that will arise as a result. So just to give an example, we have Mukaila here, who is sitting with the NEIP director. He's a fruit processor in Cape Coast. And he's already into processing of pineapples and other fruits. But then there's a challenge with the shelf life of his product, for example. How is he able to solve for that? So using research from the university, UGBS was able to successfully train Mukala and his colleagues on how to preserve the shelf life of his product, increasing the quality of the product. There's also the challenge of assessing the right equipment that will allow them to produce on scale. And this is something that our project has also tried to solve for. There is also the challenge of access to regulation, because the pathway to getting the right permits and the standards seem to be too complicated, which is something that the project is also addressing. So before you realize, Mukala is now in a position to sell his product in a supermarket in Cape Coast, in Accra, and even begin to think about exporting.
True.
If you would dare think so, you know. So
He
this
has
is the
to.
possibility that such a program brings. And you see, one of the challenges in terms of transferring knowledge in this context was, language, for example, you know, we use English when dealing with innovation is a central medium of discourse, but now there's a challenge of how do you present this information, your knowledge about pasteurization and all the techniques you are using in the labs here in a way that somebody who is not used to that can follow. And how do you also present that in local language alongside English? How do you prepare the material? So there's a whole lot of things that has to be thought about deeply and addressed when you're talking about applying innovation in a rural context.
Very important detail. Let's put our hands together for our panelists. Please, let's put our hands together for them. I'll come to the audience for just 2 or 3 questions as we go on. But Prof, you mentioned the aging farmer population in this country, making agriculture or farming sexy for the young people. How do we merge or maybe connect the dots between what the state is doing, a state-led agricultural interventions, and what research is also doing? Because most of the times you see the state is doing or government is doing one initiative that has no nexus or connection or partnership with what is happening the various institutions of research, the universities. So for instance, there's in Kukon Kitin, you are distributing chicks to young people to get into poultry farming. And a lot of young people would get hooked onto it because there are no jobs. They see it as an avenue for employment. But beyond it solving the unemployment problem, how about arming them with the knowledge and leveraging the research that is available so as to sustain the impact of these interventions beyond just the politics of it? Prof.
Thank you. I think this is the reason why we are talking about aligning. By the way, when I grow up, I want to be like the entrepreneur who is already processing. Because I think that there is a lot that we can do for people like him. We currently spend a lot of money taking people outside this country for training that we actually have here. And those of us who receive grants from other countries, there are so many more who do not have the opportunity to do that. That if we were doing that, and I'm really praying, again, I'm looking in your direction, Abigail, that we would have a lot more opportunity to translate our capacity into research that really informs change. Because there's a lot that we can do to transform what is happening through research. And this one, I have to say that I've been avoiding saying it on many platforms. Then we trialed it.
Oh, you did? University of Ghana?
Yes.
So
we worked on that concept in the Eastern region.
Yeah, so he says it's true, so we'll leave it here. It's fine.
We'll talk somewhere else.
Yes.
But you see that there is potential to bring, evidence that can really bring real transformation. Not only did we do the technical work of it, we also, during the COVID time, worked on the benefit cost ratio of implementing such interventions. And we found that for every CD that you invest, you get about 1.5 CDs benefit, even for nutrition. So there is a lot that if we get support, and sometimes it's hard to see when you are putting money in research, it's like you're not seeing a tangible output. And so there's, some kind of resistance to do that. But there's also a lag time for you to see that benefit. We did that study between 2014 and 2018. And now it's beginning to show benefits. I think that we need to do that. But beyond that, I think we also need to connect across the various research agencies, because we do different things. We have different capacities. There are those in the agric research centers who are doing all kinds of things that we haven't even begun to apply. There's a lot that is being done by our CSIRs, and we haven't begun to deal with much of them in terms of scaling them up and translating them. We are trying to look at, with the limited funding that we've got, try to look at the entire value chain to see how do we help young people not to only focus on the obvious. The obvious is production, right? But we want to see some of them go into processing, some of them go into packaging, some of them even go into how do you create a business out of making people eat well. You know, it's one thing just telling you eat healthy and how you actually do it. And that is an entrepreneurial opportunity that can be taken up. But I dare say that the Ghanaian researcher has the capacity to do that, and we have demonstrated that.
Undoubtedly. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for Prof. And Doc, while we round up, what should be the way forward in terms of thinking? Because you talk about the impact of climate change on agriculture, which is evident, we're seeing it, but we still have a lot of our farmers depending on rain, a rain-fed agriculture. Not much investment has been done into or made into irrigation systems. We've seen a number of them not work to the expectation that we all have. What should be the thinking going forward in this regard, please?
It's a big question. It's a big question that even all the ministries are, are trying to deliberate on. From my experience, and probably from engaging on the ground, I just want to touch on what you asked earlier on about, at the national level, frameworks being put in place, which need to be implemented on the ground. But sometimes the framework is laudable, but how the technicalities, the logistics, that have to be overcome, or they have to be put in place for things to be implemented efficiently, because it could start off well, but then over time there could be so many other things that will happen. So for example, if you take a dam has been put in place in a community in order to provide them with water during the dry season so that they can carry out dry season irrigation. Depending on where communities are located around that dam, some may have access to it because there's some gravity that allows the water to come to them, but those who are further up, what happens? So it's an initiative that's been put in, but in terms of the implementation, in terms of who has access to it, there are always these bottlenecks. So one of the key ways in which we are trying to do this is why we, within our collaborative, we are trying to establish observatories within the communities, so that there's a key word that's going around now about co-development, that you don't come up as researchers with solutions on your own, but you ensure that the voices of the communities, those are actually living in the spaces and understand all the different barriers and issues that may come up, contribute to that solution. So it's from, we talk about top down, but it's also from bottom up. I think overall, we do have systems in place where we can have those voices being represented when decisions are being taken. To what extent are they involved in those? And this again boils down to knowledge. People need to know their rights. People need to understand the fact that they do also have some input or some responsibility into taking decisions that occur on the ground. So we are talking about agriculture. Depending on where you go, there are different issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you are along the coast, people are adapting in different ways. You go to the north, it's different. Those who are by the river is different. Those who are away from everybody, and specific issues that they face. So they have to be a strong voice in their decision-taking processes. And information, I think information is something we haven't touched on here, but information is really key. And Prof was talking about how various institutions are doing so many different types of good projects and initiatives. Data is coming out of that.
Absolutely.
But then what are
yeah.
we doing with it?
True.
And then when you come to the climate space, it's everything. It's everything. It's across all sectors. So we do need to also look at a way, find a way to be able to share that knowledge in a way that he's also mentioned, that we talk in English, but then those who do have the information communicate in a different language. So information is something that is, I think, central to all that we are doing here.
Perfect. And Mr. Ajao, that's on that last point about leveraging information going forward. For you at Riser, what's the way forward like to expand the impact and also the implementation of information in a way that would be able to benefit both the rural and the urban divide that we're looking at?
Yeah, so I think that, well, I would have to acknowledge that a lot has happened over the 3 years since I've started working at Riser, as far as the research and innovation ecosystem in Ghana is concerned, and that's very encouraging. And also through the systems that we are working with, we are beginning to see the results. There are enterprises and products that are being launched, passing through the systems that we have set up, but also through systems already from the various institutions. So that's very encouraging. And so in terms of the way forward, I would recommend a number of things. One has to do with governance. I think that the coordination, as far as innovation ecosystem in Ghana is concerned, has to be addressed. There's already some work in place looking at the innovation and startup bill, which we support. So it's very important. Partnerships and networks. Riser has BEPS platforms like the Rural Innovation Network of Ghana, and the Ghana Research and Industry Collaborative. I think these networks connecting with other networks and the state institutions can deliver a lot for Ghana. The third has to do with innovative financing. Finance has been pointed out as a bottleneck, and the financing solutions available, frankly, do not directly respond to the needs of the innovators, be they in the rural or urban communities. So we still need to do some work around that. Riser has contributed to innovative financing mechanisms, but I believe that more needs to be done. I would also like to talk about the importance of visibility. Just to mention that some of these early successes or early wins, it's very important for us to share information about them, to put them out, and also learn from them, so that that can be the basis for improvement. And also a data-centric approach. It's very key. So this will be some of the things or some of the priorities that I would emphasize on. Yeah.
Perfect. Please, let's put our hands together for our panelists. Thank you, Mr. Jao. Thank you, Dr. Mensah, Prof. Ite. Thank you very much. They'll take their seats back again. Let's put our hands together for them. We're going to take a picture.
Can I just say,
Final one,
since I have the
please.
platform,
Yes.
The collaborative actually provides scholarships, so masters, MSc and MPhil, PhDs and postdocs. So we will be sending out our advertisement in January. So watch that space. Those of you who are interested in fully funded scholarships. So tuition, stipend, research, everything is covered. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. If that was for the scholarship, please put your hands together better. Thank you.
Diamonds be mine. Yet we fight, we cover it all in blood. Tell me why we wallow in the mud. Africa, 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 yeah. Mama Africa, we cry for peace.
Shall we please give it up for our panelists as they take their seats? Indeed, such remarkable conversations that we've just had today. And I would like to say thank you very much, Mr. Okanse, and our panelists once again for doing justice to our theme for today. Once again, I would like to remind you that you are currently seated at the University of Ghana Business School, and this is the first Regional Innovation Synergies Conference, hosted by the UGBS Innovation and Incubation Hub in partnership with the AfriVenture Lab, and also powered by the UG in Carbon Collaborative, the African Climate Collaborative, and the Riser Fund, and also the UK International Development. All right, like I said earlier, here at University of Ghana, we like to show working. So let's watch a video of our impact stories on the various projects.
Today, we celebrate the profound impact of 3 key initiatives at the University of Ghana, namely, we celebrate the profound Today, we celebrate the profound impact of 3 key initiatives at the University of Ghana, namely the Riser Brain Project, African Climate Collaborative, and the UG in Carbon Collaborative. These initiatives are transforming communities and inspiring change across Ghana and beyond. The Riser Brain Project has been a catalyst for rural development by building capacities of small enterprises and connecting research to industry. So far, it has trained hundreds of rural innovators, empowering them to enhance their processes and diversify their businesses. In partnership with local communities, the project has delivered vital resources such as biodigesters and juicing machines, significantly improving product quality and environmental sustainability. One of the project's most remarkable milestones was the commissioning of the new makerspace in Jana, Temale on November 12, 2025. This state-of-the-art hub is more than just a space. It is a beacon of innovation, providing artisans and entrepreneurs with the tools and environment to collaborate, create, and grow. This achievement exemplifies how the Brain Project continues to empower grassroots innovators, fostering economic resilience and unlocking local talents. Beyond rural enterprise support, the University of Ghana Africa Climate Collaborative is pioneering efforts to embed climate resilience into innovation. By conducting comprehensive gap analysis across Ghana and organizing workshops to understand the situation, they recognize the critical need to embed climate resilience into enterprise training. Today, they are equipping hub leaders with new manuals on climate-smart innovation, ensuring that young entrepreneurs, especially women, persons with disability, and vulnerable communities are empowered to build sustainable climate-resilient futures across Africa. Meanwhile, the UG in Carbon Collaborative is fostering inclusive growth. Its objective is to create a connected ecosystem that supports quality education, institutional capacity, and entrepreneurship in the agri-food system. It aims at investing $500,000 into prototype development over the next 5 years. Currently, the collaborative has empowered over 700 agri-food and nutrition entrepreneurs, providing pathways for underserved groups, especially women, persons with disability, and internally displaced persons, to access funding, mentorship, showcase their products, and scale their businesses. These initiatives embody a shared vision, transforming ideas into scalable solutions, strengthening local economies, and fostering resilience in the face of a challenging climate. Their collective effort is shaping a more inclusive and sustainable future. We sincerely thank all partners, stakeholders, and supporters who continue to champion these efforts, and our deepest gratitude to the Research and Innovation Directorate, RED, University of Ghana, for their IP and innovation support, enabling these transformative programs to flourish. Together, we are lightening the way towards a more resilient, inclusive, and innovative Ghana.
Let's put our hands together. That is the evidence of what we are celebrating today. Thank you very much. And we're going to officially launch Risk 2025. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help us make welcome Professor Joseph Yarrow. Let's put our hands together for Prof. And he would be supported by Professor Richmond Niokai Ayite. Prof, let's put our hands together for Prof.
We also call on Professor Analati and also Professor Gordon Awandari, Pro VC Academic and Student Affairs, University of Ghana.
And Mr. Erica J, please kindly join them. Let's put our hands together for them as they go. We have to have Mr. Gameli Ajao. Please.
And then Professor Abigail. Professor Abigail Opoku-Mensah. We can do better with the applause. All right, I think he knows what.
Merci. Yeah. Okay, so at this moment, okay, since we are not cutting any short, we would want to declare the official launch of Risk.
Can you please join us here?
Professor George Champong.
A round of applause for him.
Prof is our lead convener. Let's put our hands together for Prof as he comes. If Professor Abna Enimwa Yeboah Benin is here, Prof, please join. Let's put our hands together for Prof. Wonderful. We're taking some pictures.
Yes, Dean of the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Trinibia Kodye.
He's our host. We are in his building. Yes. So please. Thank you. Risk 2025 has been officially launched.
The land is good, the land is fine. Gold we have, diamonds.
And the next session would have, thank you very much. Thank you. Please put your hands together for them. Thank you. We would have our breakout sessions after we all go down to see the exhibitions. Our breakout sessions would have agri-food systems and entrepreneurship track, from partnership to policy, strengthening institutional synergies and regulatory pathways for agri-food systems for job creation. The second breakout section will be on climate innovation and entrepreneurial mentorship track. building climate resilient enterprises, innovation, mentorship, and green growth. The third breakout session will be rural innovation and technology transfer, leveraging grassroots innovation insights to shape national policy frameworks. So please bear that in mind and let's all participate as much as possible. We'll take our closing remarks. Please help me make welcome Professor Ernest Yao Chinubua Kodia, Dean, University of Ghana Business School.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'll do a brief summary of what I heard so far and what I saw. When I came to the room, I enjoyed the dance from the School of Performing Arts. Let's put a hand for them. They did very well. And when I entered this place, I didn't know it was one of my classrooms. So we are planning of renovating our conference room. I'm going to put Pro Champion in charge. He will be the project lead. So when I learned that RISA is a movement to achieve a common goal. That common goal is to create jobs. And we're told that if you're able to create that job, the impact will be felt by all. If for nothing at all, your mumu account may go on holiday. Because those who will be asked to be sending money, because they are working there and they are making money, they will not bother you again. And then we said that we need to focus our effort on agriculture since it can create jobs for the teeming youth. And to achieve that, we need rural technology transfer to support rural enterprises. I want to thank the CEO of NEIP for Community Business School for our role in the Jumara training program. I will say that we are always ready to support the job creation effort of the government. So we are always available. And then, I've not mentioned this, but you know where I'm quoting from. Once our community around us is looking up to us to solve their problems. And that GNRF is ready to support. Sometimes entrepreneurs have to do with how to get finances. And that solution is sitting in this room. And then it is clear that no one institution can solve Ghana's unemployment issue. We need to work together. That's why we have the Nkabom Collaborative. We produce enough food, but some are going hungry. And to resolve that, you have to bridge the idea of leveraging technology to change the situation. We should focus on young people to solve the problem. I would say that, and maybe that will go to NIP. And I've not seen your curriculum for the training. One of the things that you need to do is to have attitudinal change intervention to change the attitude of the youth. As I stand here, I may be one of the few professor entrepreneurs. And that's another time for that. I finished school and I started setting up my own company. And I remember some of my mates were laughing at me at that time. I remember I printed a call card and I wrote MD on it. And they called me MD, you know, and they were laughing at me. But now, that company, even though I've handed over to my wife and I'm a professor, dean of the business school, but what I'm paid, apart from the fact that I'm a stakeholder in that company, I'm the owner of that company. What I'm paid at the end of the month is more than what I get as a dean and whatever in the business school. Far, far more than that. So we want to encourage the youth to go into entrepreneurship. We did a roundtable discussion with industry last week, this very room. And we learned that average pay in Ghana, when you finish school, first degree, between 3,000, 5,000. If you get 8,000, then you are on a different planet. But as an entrepreneur, you can get that money in 2 minutes. So I encourage the Carbon Collaborative for the work that they are doing. And I must say that I was with my provost. You know, I dreamt the UGBS Incubation Center. I dreamt it. Because of entrepreneurship. And I had to convince my dean, then Professor Bo, to set it up. But I never imagined that a young man who was a student in that department at that time could take to this level. So I want us to put our hands together for Professor Champong. He's done so well, and I'm very proud of him. He has provided stage for all of us, everybody, and we'll keep encouraging you to keep doing the good work. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Let's put our hands together for Prof. Let's put our hands together for Prof. Wonderful. We're told that we have to do a summary in 3. What a temptation. Intino, yeah, better must say mobile, a regional innovation synergies conference, no. University of Ghana, any Crawford, one more account a day program, and then next year program, no. Intino, se wopese wotenia maybe asia. Free hano ubetimi ehu nkrofo bi wa hana wo ma kyerɛkyerɛ mu ama professor Abigail Opoku Mensa wa ha ono na sika ne nyina wɔ ne nkyɛn nti no sɛ wo pɛsɛ ko giska na oboa wo business na no wehu no wa Mr. Eric J so wa ha NEIP ono na aban ama ne sika ne nyina nti no wo nso wo peska no wehu no ono hye suit no wo ha no. Tiana Pacho Mansasu Momu. Mumbon Semane. And one no Yavie. Okay. Rise and Fonso Waha, Mr. Jaho, Bema Coco, Nehue Fe, or share white shirt and black trousers no. Or also Waha and Tobetimi and Honona, what church near my mamma. Send one no. And one no. Yeah, Beji, University of Ghana.
Sorry, please, Vice.
Yeah, let's ho. Yes.
University of Ghana, the nation's hope and glory. The place that bears the star of peace and peace and so to do wonders in the best hour of learning. Is my both young and old. And we will say the unity to uphold the public cause. Arise and then all the friend and cause of freedom. Proceeding to the integrity to make a nation proud. Arise and then all the friend and cause of freedom. Proceeding to the integrity to make a nation proud. As I say the wisdom, as we climb the hill of learning, may we as our we do as we prepare to face the world with your eyes steady at all times, and your conscience we to feel. Then we proceed in unity to oppose the public cause. Arise and live, all defend the cause of freedom. Proceeding to find integrity to make our nation proud. Arise and live, all defend the cause of freedom. Proceeding to find integrity to make our nation proud. Arise and live, all defend the cause of freedom. Proceeding to find integrity. freedom, truth, and integrity to make our nation proud.
Shall we please take our seats? Okay, so up next, we will have a breakout session. So even though this main plenary session has ended, we have breakout sessions after this. We have our breakout rooms that have been announced. If you did not hear the announcement, kindly see our ushers so they direct you to your room. Okay, and also we have a high-level tour coming up right after this, and there's lunch. There's lunch at 1 p.m. After lunch, then you go for your breakout sessions.
Thank you very much. And for the high-level tour, we will be led by Professor Abna Enimwa Yeboah Benning. And it's actually a tour of the exhibition. So she's the Dean of the School of Information and Communication Studies at the University of Ghana. She'll lead us. Prof, let's see you. Perfect. So Prof will lead us. And then also we'll have Madame Ruby Insaki, Project Administrator, University of Ghana in Kabom Collaborative. She would also, together with Prof, lead us to the exhibition downstairs. So we're living here, but then the lunch is at 12. And so, in fact, it's past 12 now. So we'll go and do the exhibition. And then afterwards, we go for lunch. And after lunch, we go to our breakout sessions. Very important. Some of you wanted to ask questions. That's a place to ask all the questions, and then also to network, create the right connections for what you need going forward. So thank you very much. The first part of it, we're done, but there's a whole lot more after this. Thank you. Let's go for the exhibition and the tour now. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for the organizers as we go down